the pride of the people.
Yes, a very beautiful morning to you listeners out there. The program you're on to is in the papers and it's coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. It's a newspaper review program where we preview and review what is making rounds in the papers this beautiful morning. I am Inioluwa Adekoya. And right about now, we will take a short break. When we get back, we'll give you details of the headlines we are going to be reading out to your hearing pleasure. Yes, glad to have you on the program. In the papers coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. On my end, I have headlines from the Punch newspaper, the Old newspaper, the Nation newspaper, and the Daily Post newspaper. Now, beginning on the top of the list of our headlines this morning on the Old newspaper, ODSG approves payment of MRTF for Unimed TH doctors. Yes, moving on, where I've got this on the Old newspaper, talking SCD, Ekiti stakeholders advocate policy action. Still talking Ekiti is excitement as Oyebanji rewards outstanding staff. Yes, now I take a flight to the Punch newspaper. Tinubu Atiku condole with Chimamanda over son's death. Yes, moving on the Punch newspaper, talking rivers in turmoil. APC leaders intervene as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threat. Still on the Punch newspaper, talking insurgency. Federal government, U.S. company planned delivery of 12 attack helicopters. Still on the Punch newspaper, Orji Kalu draws battle line, vows to stop Oti's re-election. Yes, I've got this on the Punch newspaper, talking PMS. Dangote refinery marketers feel deal crashes as imports surge. Still on the Punch newspaper, military actions alone not enough to end insurgency, scholars warn. And now to the Nation newspaper, federal government bolsters national economy through NPA. Yes, still on the Nation newspaper, ADC raises committee to review constitution boost electoral chances. Still on the Nation newspaper, Wike hails Tinubu on Bonny Island Road construction. Why Fubara deputy should go by lawmaker, still on the Nation newspaper. Yes, and now to the Daily Post newspaper. No going back on strike. Abeokuta residents, doctors gave federal government January 12th deadline. Yes, and finally, on the list of our headlines this morning on the Daily Post newspaper, Nigeria will overcome security challenges, says Fadausi. Yes, and with that, we will take a short break right about now. When we get back, we'll give you more headlines and more details coming your way shortly. Yes, glad to have you back. The program you're onto is in the papers and it's coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the list of our top stories this morning, ODSG approves payment of MRTF for Unimed TH doctors. And now to the details. The Ondo State government has approved the yearly payment of the Medical Residency Training Fund to all regular supernumerary resident doctors at the University of Medical Science Teaching Hospital. This approval, granted by the Governor of Ondo State, His Excellency Honorable Lucky Orimison Ayedatiwa, is part of a deliberate effort to strengthen the residency training program and boost the morale of resident doctors in the state-owned teaching hospital. The MRTF will be paid annually to eligible resident doctors. The Chief Medical Director of Unimed TH, Dr. Michael Bala, expressed profound appreciation to the Governor for this thoughtful and impactful gesture, noting that it will significantly enhance the quality, stability and attractiveness of the residency training program at the institution. Dr. Bala also commended the Governor for his continued commitment to upgrading the teaching hospital with state-of-the-art medical equipment, including magnetic resonance imaging (MRI), computer tomography, scan, 3D mammography, digital X-ray system, and a host of others. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Old newspaper with the headline, ODSG approves payment of MRTF for Unimed TH doctors. Yes, that's still on the Old newspaper, talking SCD. We have got this from from Ekiti State. Ekiti stakeholders advocate policy actions. And now to the details. Resilience, hope and advocacy took center stage as stakeholders gathered for the second annual Sickle Cell Warrior Party and medical outreach, an event that blended celebration with a renewed call for systematic action on sickle cell disease in Nigeria. The colorful gathering in Ado-Ekiti, the Ekiti state capital, brought together medical professionals, government representatives, development partners, families, and most importantly, individuals living with SCD, fondly referred to as warriors. Speaking at the event, the executive director of the OA initiative, Dr. Ayomide Olanikbekun, described the event as more than a social gathering, saying it was a deliberate effort to shift the narrative around sickle cell from one of the silent sufferings to one of the visible strengths and collective responsibility. She noted that while the condition is often associated with pain and limitation, the warriors present embodied courage, endurance, and dignity in the face of daily challenges. Olanikbekun explained that the second edition of the program symbolized growth and continuity in the initiative commitment to ensuring that no persons living with SCD is left to navigate the journey alone. He further commended the state governor, Biodun Oyebanji, for his programs and policies aimed at improving the welfare of warriors with free healthcare services in the state. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Old newspaper with the headline, Ekiti stakeholders advocate policy action. Yes, still on the Old newspaper and still talking Ekiti State. Excitement as Oyebanji rewards outstanding staff. And now to the details. The governor of Ekiti State, Biodun Oyebanji, has rewarded about 100 outstanding street sweepers, drivers, and staff of the State Waste Management Agency for their contributions to clean and waste-free environment in the year 2025. Oyebanji rewarded the AEKSWAMA staff at a Thanksgiving service held at the agency to appreciate God for the agency's tremendous success in the outgone year 2025 and seek his guidance and protection for the new year 2026. Presenting the cash gift for the beneficiaries on behalf of the Governor, Director General, Ekiti State Waste Management Agency, Sukomi Onikpede, described the gift as a deliberate act of appreciation of life, strength, and a collective effort that sustained the authority through the past years. Onikpede emphasized the work of sanitation is foundational to public health, environmental sustainability, and overall image of Ekiti State, noting that contributions of sweepers and operatives often go unnoticed despite their daily impact on society. The Director General reaffirmed the government's resolve to continue to improve work conditions, promoting professionalism, and strengthening teamwork across all levels of the authority. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Old newspaper with the headline, Excitement as Oyebanji rewards outstanding staff. And now I take a flight to the Punch newspaper. Inioluwa Adekoya condole with Chimamanda over son's death. And now to the details. President Bola Tinubu and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar have expressed sorrow over the death of Nkanu Nnamdi, son of the renowned author Chimamanda Adichie, and her husband Dr. Ivari Ezege. Adichie and her husband, in a statement issued recently by Omawumi Ogbe on behalf of the family, said the 21-month-old baby died on Wednesday, January 7, 2026, after a brief illness. The statement said the family was devastated by the loss and requested that their privacy be respected during the difficult time. The statement reads, and I quote, "We're deeply saddened to confirm the passing of one of Mrs. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and Dr. Dr. Ivara Sege, twin boys, Nkano Namdi, who passed on Wednesday, the 7th of January 2026 after a brief illness. He was 21-month-old. The family is devastated by the profound loss, and we request that their privacy be respected during the incredibly difficult time. We ask for your grace and prayers as they mourn in private. No further statement will be made, and we thank the public and the media for respecting their need for seclusion during the period of immense grief. In a personal statement issued recently, Tinubu described the loss as devastating, drawing from his experience of losing a loved one. He said, and I quote, "As a parent myself who has suffered the loss of a loved one, no grief is as devastating as losing a child." He emphasized with the family during this difficult period and mourned the sad loss alongside their family. He added, "My prayers are with the family." Article in a statement issued by his spokesperson Paul Ibe commiserated with the family over the loss of their children. He said, and I quote, "My heart goes out to Chimamanda Adichie and her husband, Dr. Ivara Sege, on the loss of their son. There can be no loss like the loss of a child. My thoughts and prayers are with Sege and Adichie's families and all their friends. May God grant them strength, peace, and solace as they mourn their painful loss." If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, "Tinubu Atiku condole with Chimamanda over son's death." Yes, still on the Punch newspaper, Rivers in turmoil. APC leaders intervene as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threats. And now to the details. Top members and some governors of the All Progressive Congress have moved to douse tension in Rivers State following the 7-day impeachment notice issued by the Rivers State House of Assembly to Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Udu. The newsman learnt late on Thursday that some APC bigwigs have begun moves to find a political solution to the unfolding crisis. The statement reads, and I quote, "Their underground moves already aimed at dousing the tension and resolving the matter. A political solution has been sought. Both governors and FCT ministers are already being reached out to." Findings by newsmen show that to avoid another round of violent crises in the state, political gladiators and some top officials of the federal government close to two parties have begun moves forward towards resolving the matter. A top politician familiar with the development told newsmen that the presidency has been briefed about the developments. The president will intervene. However, key members of the government as well as some top politicians are already reaching out to both men. The political crisis in Rivers State escalated on Thursday as Rivers State House of Assembly commenced fresh impeachment proceedings against Fubara and Udu, issuing them a 7-day notice to respond to allegations of gross misconduct. At plenary, presided over by the Speaker Martin Amewole, the House said the action was prompted by the governor's alleged refusal to present the 2026 appropriation bill for legislative consideration. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, "APC leaders intervene as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threats." Yes, the program is still in the papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. To join us live on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, you can reach out to us on iPower 1027 FM and the next at iPower 1027. Right about now, we will take a short break. When we get back, we'll give you a more list of the headlines and stories coming your way. Yes, you're still on to In the Papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM, a paper review program where we preview and review what is making rounds in the papers today. And continuing from the Punch newspaper, talking insurgency. Federal government, U.S. company planned delivery of 12 attack helicopters. And now to the details. Officers of the Nigerian Air Force have met with senior United States officials and representatives of Bell Textron to fast-track the acquisition of 12 AH-1Z attack helicopters, a critical capability upgrade intended to bolster Nigerian counter-terrorism and security operations across the country. The program management review meeting, led by the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Anike, took place from January 5th to 6, 2026 in San Diego, California. According to NAF spokesperson Aima Ejodame, the engagement focused on assessing the status of the helicopter acquisition program, addressing logistical challenges, and ensuring timely delivery within agreed timelines and budgets. The statement reads, and I quote, in a strategic move to enhance operational capacity. The meeting was aimed at fast-tracking the acquisition of 12 AH-1Z helicopters, aligned with CAS philosophy of building a highly motivated, professional, and mission-ready force capable of delivering decisive air power effect in synergy with ground forces. Anike expressed appreciation to the United States government and Bell Textron for their professionalism and transparency, describing the program as more than a platform upgrade. He further stated, and I quote, this acquisition reflects the enduring defense cooperation between Nigeria and the United States and underscores our shared responsibility for regional and global security. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Federal Government, U.S. company planned delivery of 12 attack helicopters. Yes, still on the Punch newspaper, Orji Kalu draws battle line, vows to stop OT re-election. And now to the details. The senator representing Abia North Senatorial District, Orji Uzo Kalu, has drawn a political battle line ahead of the 2027 general election, vowing to withdraw its support for the Abia State Governor, Alex Oti, and work actively against his re-election. Kalu, a former governor of the state, said he would instead mobilize support for the All Progressive Congress, declaring that he would no longer back the Labour Party-led administration. Speaking recently at his country home in Igbere, Kalu claimed he played a key role in Oti's emergence in 2023 governorship election, but accused the governor's media team of provoking a rift between them. The lawmaker said he was angered by a statement issued by Oti's chief press secretary, Mr. Njoku Okoa, which criticized him over comments that he would support President Bola Tinubu and deliver Abia State to APC. He said, and I quote, I have not for once criticized the state government for 2 years. I consider the governor my friend and never spoke against him. But 3 days ago, I saw where the governor's press secretary issued a statement against me. There is no governor who can deny that whatever his press secretary says reflects his position. They fired the first salvo, and I replied by saying that since I am APC, I will work for APC to win. We worked for him to win in 2023, but we're not going to do that again. Kalu insisted that his decision to work for the APC should not attract attacks, describing the criticism as unacceptable. Before the state and I quote, we will work for our party. What is wrong with that? Is that why I should receive insults? I will work for my party. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Ojukalu draws battle line, vows to stop Oti's re-election. We're still on the Punch newspaper talking PMS. Dangote refinery marketers fuel deal crashes as imports surge. And now to the details. The fuel supply arrangement between Dangote Petroleum Refinery and 20 major petroleum marketers, under which the parties agreed to offtake 600 million litres of petrol monthly, has collapsed over pricing disagreement. Newsmen have exclusively learned. It was also gathered that the disagreement sparked a surge in petrol importation witnessed in the month of November 2025, with total imports rising to 1.563 billion litres, according to the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. The authority disclosed that the import figure in its November 2025 fact sheet titled State of Midstream and Downstream Sector, which showed a sharp spike in imported volumes during the period and pricing dispute intensified. Recall that deals reached in October 2025 was structured as a pilot arrangement under which 20 depot owners were to collectively offtake about 600 million litres of petrol monthly, with each marketers lifting roughly 30 million litres from the Dangote refinery. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline Dangote refinery marketers fuel deal crashes as imports surge. Still on the Punch newspaper, military action alone not enough to end insurgency, scholar warns. And now to the details. A historian and international studies scholar, Dr. Gadimo Nicholas, has warned that military force alone will not resolve Nigerians' insurgency, emphasizing the need for long-term solutions that address underlying socio-economic and governance challenges. Speaking recently, Gadimo, trained at the Nigerian Defense Academy, said U.S. assistance in military training, intelligence and counter-terrorism operations could help dismantle insurgent stronghold across northern Nigeria. However, he cautioned that lasting peace requires more than external military support. He stated, and I quote, Nigerian security challenges are compounded by poverty, weak governance, and poor access to education, which have made parts of the North vulnerable to extremist recruitment, while the U.S. technological edge and counterterrorism expertise can provide a vital boost. The Nigerian military and government must take the lead to ensure stability is maintained after any intervention. The scholar further stressed the balancing of immediate security measures with long-term strategies is crucial. He highlighted the importance of strengthening governance, promoting economic development, and fostering community reconciliation to address the root causes of extremism and banditry. Nigeria has battled Boko Haram and its splinter factions for over a decade, and our conflict claiming thousands of lives and displacing millions, particularly in the northeast. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline Military action alone not enough to end insurgency, scholars warn. Yes, and on the Nation newspaper, federal government bolsters national economy through NPA. And now to the details. The federal government, through the Nigerian Ports Authority, bolsters the national economy through a record Yes, I take that headline again. Federal government bolsters national economy through MPA on the Nation newspaper. And now to the details. The federal government, through the Nigerian Port Authority, bolsters the national economy through record trade facilitation, infrastructural development, and key operational efficiencies. A fresh $60 million investment in Greenport initiative by President Bola Tinubu administration is set to transform the MPA operations, driving a renewed focus on local content development. Recent data from the 2025 has shown an unprecedented growth, positioning Nigerian sport as a crucial hub for economic prosperity. Findings recently revealed that the MPA has significantly contributed to the nation's economy through various avenues. Sustained efficiencies have led to Nigerians' international trade reaching 5.81 trillion naira in the third quarter of 2024, resulting in significant trade surplus. In Q3 2025, exports laden container volumes saw a substantial increase, and total cargo throughout rose by 16.2%. The agency also made a notable contribution of 400.8 billion naira to the Consolidated Revenue Fund in 2024, nearly doubling the previous year remittance. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Nation newspaper with the headline: Federal Government bolsters national economy through MPA. Yes, the program you're still onto is in the papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. For comments and contributions, the time is right about now, and the number to call is 0816 552 4699 0816 552 4699 for comments and contributions. You can also reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at iPower1027 FM, and on X at iPower1027. Right about now, we will take a short break. When we get back, we'll give you more headlines and stories coming your way shortly. Glad to have you back. You're still on to In the Papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. The number to call for your comments and contribution is 0816 552 4699 0816 552 4699. And moving on to the Nation newspaper, Lagos Assembly passes 4.4 trillion naira 2026 budget. And now to the details. The Lagos State House of Assembly has passed a 4.4 trillion naira appropriation bill for 2026 fiscal year, following the adoptions of reports of the House Committee on Economic Planning and Budget. The committee chairman, Saha Olumo, presented the report during plenary yesterday, detailing the assumptions, projections, and structures of the 2026 appropriation bill, tagged Budget of Shared Prosperity. According to the report, the 2026 represents the third budget cycle of the current administration and final new cycle budget of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's second term. It is aligned with the administration's development agenda, called on four strategic pillars: human-centric development, modern and adaptive infrastructure, a thriving 21st century megacity economy, and effective governance that exceeds citizens' expectation. Olumo noted that the budget framework was informed by macroeconomic indices, including an exchange rate benchmark of 1,512 trillion naira to the dollar, an inflation rate of 14.7%, oil production of 2.6 million barrels per day, and a benchmark oil price of 64% per barrel. The committee also reviewed the 2025 budget performance, reporting a cumulative budget performance of 79% as at November 2025. Capital expenditure performance stood at 75%, recurrent expenditure at 87%, while overall revenue performance was put at 79%. If that's the aligns with your interest, it is on the Nation newspaper with the headline: Lagos Assembly passes 4.4 trillion naira 2026 budget. Yes, still on the Nation newspaper, ADC raises committee to review constitution boost electoral chances. And now to the details. The African Democratic Congress has inaugurated a Constitution Review Committee to strengthen its internal democracy and position it as a credible national alternative ahead of the next year's general election. The party extant constitution, which has been in effect since the inception in 2006, has undergone several reviews and contentious amendments, some of which have led to litigations. Inaugurating the committee recently at the party's national secretariat in Abuja, ADC National Chairman Senator David Mark said the exercise was central to the growth and institutional strengthening of the relatively young party. The 22-member committee, chaired by Etigwe Uwa, a senior advocate of Nigeria, also has a former deputy speaker of the House of Representatives, Emeka Inioluwa, former national chairman, Chief Ralph Nwosu, former House of Representatives Minority Leader Mohammed Kumalia, Senator E.Y. Oker Jeff, Senator Enyinaya Abaribe, Professor Lawal Saliu, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police DIG Ibrahim Adamu, Professor Muhammad Sani Bello, the former House of Representatives members CID Madu Bom, among others. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Nation newspaper with the headline: ADC raises committee to review a constitution boost electoral chances. Still on the Nation newspaper, why Fubara deputy should go, says lawmakers. And now to the details. Rivers State recently slipped deeper into another political turmoil as lawmakers moved to deploy the ultimate weapon against the governor and his deputy's impeachment. What began as a simmering struggle for control has now escalated into a high-stakes showdown that could upend the state's leadership. The State House of Assembly, led by Speaker Martin Amewole, initiated fresh impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Udu. The lawmakers reconvened for special plenary and tabled allegations of gross misconduct against Fubara in a voluminous document. During the seat beamed live on national television stations, the House insisted that the governor must be investigated for offences bordering on gross misconduct and total disobedience to the provisions of 1996 Constitution as amended, as well as the extant laws of the state. The document was read on the floor of the House of the Majority Leader, Major Jack. The impeachment notice was signed by 28 members out of 27 and available. Only one member abstained. The House has 32 statutory members, 3 members are on suspension, 1 member resigned, and another died, but both have not been replaced. Central to the allegation is Fubara's alleged authorization, approval, withdrawal and expenditure of funds from the State Consolidated Revenue Fund without legislative appropriation. The document alleged no appropriation bill of Rivers State has been presented, nor has any law been duly passed into the law as the purported presentation and passage of 2024 appropriation bill is void. AB initio. Fubara was accused of authorizing and approving withdrawals from a consolidated revenue account in 2024 without a duly passed appropriation law by the Assembly, contrary to Section 120 of the 1999 Constitution. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Open Nation newspaper with the headline, "Why Fubara Deputy Should Go, Says Lawmakers." Yes, for comments and contributions to the stories read out to you, the number to call is 0816 552 4699. 0816 552 4699. And you can also reach out to us on our social media handle on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at iPower1027 FM and on X at iPower1027. Right about now, we will take a short break. When we get back, we will give you more details and more headlines coming your way shortly. Yes, glad to have you back. The program you're on to is in the papers and it's coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. On the Daily Post newspaper, Nigeria will overcome security challenges, says Fadausi. And now to the details. The senator representing Osun East Senatorial District, Senator Francis Fadausi, has assured that Nigeria will overcome the security challenges confronting it through the sustained efforts of military and other security agencies. Senator Francis Fadausi said Fadausi made this known while speaking during the flag-off of the distribution of food items in cash donations to residents across the district in Ilashe. At the event, about 20,000 bags of rice were distributed alongside cash support to individuals and groups draws from the 10 local government areas in Osun's East Senatorial District. The senator said the federal government had continued to deploy strategies aimed at ridding the country of violent crimes and restoring peace to affected communities. According to him, the fight against insurgency and other forms of insecurity would be won with the cooperation and support of all stakeholders. He said, if the state and I quote, I assure Nigerians that the menace of insecurity will soon become a thing of the past. This will happen owing to the ongoing efforts of the military and other security agencies. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Nigeria will overcome security challenges, says Fadausi. Still on the Daily Post newspaper, no going back on strike. Abeokuta resident doctors give federal government January 12th deadline. And now to the details. Resident doctors at the Federal Medical Center at Abeokuta, Ogun State, have resolved to embark on indefinite strike following the federal government persistent failure to fully implement agreement reached with the national body. The industrial action is expected to begin from midnight on January 12, 2026. The president of the Association of Resident Doctors, FMC, at Abeokuta, Dr. Kodri Olanikpekun, in a press conference held recently, said the decision was reached at an emergency general meeting held virtually on Wednesday, January 7th, following a review of the Memorandum of Understanding entered into between the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors and the Federal Ministries of Health and Social Welfare, as well as the Labour and Employment. Reading in the communique, Dr. Olanikpekun said the strike tagged No Implementation, No Going Back TICS 2.0 was in line with the directive earlier issued by NAD after what they described as unacceptable delays, ambiguities, and outright non-compliance with agreement covering welfare, remunerations, and professional practice. Voiced the association concern over the deployment of 5 disengaged resident doctors of Federal Teaching Hospital Lokoja to another teaching hospital, noting that it violated recommendations of the committee set up to address the issue. He also bemoaned the non-implementation of authorized professional allowances, the failure to include accrued arrears in the 2026 national budget, and the ongoing delay in transmitting promotion and salary arrears owed to doctors in various institutions to the Budget Office and the Federal Ministry of Finance for payment. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, No Going Back on Strike. Abeokuta resident doctors give federal government January 12th deadline. Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, federal government secures freedom of Nigerian pastor detained in Benin Republic. And now to the details. The federal government has facilitated the release of Nigerian pastor Benjamin Egbaji, who spent over 2 years in detention in the Republic of Benin under what officials describe as harsh and degrading conditions. The Minister of State of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, confirmed the development recently following the grant of presidential pardon by Benin Republic President Patrice Talon. The pardon, which led to Egbaji's release on January 8, 2026, was formally gazetted on December 17, 2025. A statement issued in Abuja by the Minister, Special Assistant on Communication and New Media, Magnus Eze, said Egbaji, a cleric and businessman from Cross River State, had been facing multiple charges before his detention. He was initially held at the hospital in Cotonou, but was later transferred to a prison as his health condition worsened. Odumegu Ojukwu explained that the pastor's release followed months of sustained diplomatic engagement by our office, including a personal visit to him while he was hospitalized in August 2025. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Federal Government Secures Freedom of Nigerian Pastor Detained in Benin Republic. Yes, the program you're still onto is in the papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. For comments and contributions, you can reach out to us on 0816 552 4699. For comments and contributions to any of the stories and headlines read out to you, the number to call is 0816 552 4699. You can also watch us live on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at iPower 1027 FM and on X at iPower 1027. And right about now, we will take a short break. When we get back, we'll give you a recap of the headlines read out to you today. We informed you on the Open newspaper that the ODSG has approved payment of MRTF for Unimed TH doctors. We further informed you on the Open newspaper that SCD AKT stakeholders have advocated policy actions. And on the Punch newspaper, where we told you that Inioluwa Adekoya condoled with Chimamanda over son's death. Still on the Punch newspaper, Rivers in turmoil, where we informed you that APC leaders have intervened as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threats. On the Punch newspaper, talking insurgency, we informed you that federal government US company planned delivery of 12 attack helicopters. And on the Punch newspaper, we told you that Orji Kalu has drawn the battle line and vowed to stop Oti's re-election. Still on the Punch newspaper, when we informed you that Dangote refinery marketers a few deal crashes as imports surge. And on the Nation newspaper, we informed you that why Fubara deputy should go, says lawmakers. Finally, on the Daily Post newspaper, we informed you that federal government have secured freedom for Nigerian pastor detained in Benin Republic. Yes, and with that, we've come to a wrap on today's edition of In the Papers, a program. We hope this review has kept you informed of what is making news in the papers today. Until next time, I remain Inioluwa Adekoya. Many thanks for listening. Stay blessed and stay tuned to iPower 102.7 FM for more programs coming your way shortly.